Okay, so here's just a quick little video on how I mount my fenders. So I take, what I used on this one was some 1/4" tubing, and I tape, just rubber fuel line, and I tape it to the tire, and then I set the fender on top of it, and then I center it the way I want it centered. The way I did this is I set it on there, and then I stand back and I look at where I want it to be, and then I mark it off with tape, and then I cut it off so I got the length I want. I always try to make them go to the bottom rail so you don't see it hanging under the bottom rail. And then I'll usually go to the back of the frame rail right here, but this one I did a little bit shorter. I wanted it a little bit more in. So I'll set it on the tubing, the fuel line I mean. I'll mark where I want it. I'll cut the piece, around my edges. Then I bring it back. I cut out my chain. You can generally go a few inches on your chain and you're fucking gold. You ain't gonna rub it there. But then I set it back down. You get it centered on your fucking tire where it needs to be, and believe me, this will drive you fucking crazy. I've cut this fender off 2 different times to get these gaps correctly. I was off by about an 1/8 inch over here, and it drove me fucking crazy. I've cut this fender off twice and remounted it twice now. But once you have it centered on your tire, and you got it sitting where you want, lengthwise, how far down you want, you got your tubing under there so you have enough space. What I do is I come to the side and I just take my bung and I put it where it's gonna be on the frame, obviously. I put it where it's gonna be, and then I just trace it with a marker, and then I go to the other side, do the same thing with that bung, put it where it's gonna be, and then I trace it around with a marker, and then I pull the fender off, and I have that center mark for my bungs. I just drill obviously in the center of it, and then with the fender still off, I bolt the bungs to the fender, tighten them all down, and then so they're both bolted to both sides, and then I set the fender back down on the tire, get it centered, evenly gapped, all that shit looking right, which believe me, it'll take you a while. You'll think it's fucking straight, then it'll drive you crazy. So I got it so it's basically loosely sitting on the bung. Then I tack the bung in the front and rear, tack the bung front and rear again, go back, check your fucking gaps, because for this shit moves when you weld. So it might move over an 1/8 inch or something when you're tacking it. So you got to tack it up, go check it, and then if it looks good, then just start welding it in. Do a few more tacks, check it, make sure it's not moving around, and as long as it's not moving around, you're good to go. Then just, it's not completely welded, but I, did a bead almost all the way around, same on the other side, and it's good to go. Then when I take all this shit apart, to tear it down for paint and powder, then I'll go in and do my finish welds. I'll clean up the welds, all that shit. But that's how I do it. I found that's the best way to do it for me. I don't know how other people do it. That's just the way I do it. That's how I do it on all my bikes. They always come out clean, always come out straight.